Okay, we are on. So welcome everybody to this MLM Leadership University. I love this class. And I was just telling Becky and Jim, it's like sort of like a book club where we get together and we get to dive deep and share each other's insights into this beautiful book. Can't think of a better one to go into. So tonight is the Complete 101 collection on the chapter on success. And that's 12 chapters. We're doing the first 6 tonight. So we're so happy for you to join us. Our power is to equip and empower you to be the best leader that you can be so you can build a strong and profitable network marketing business. Network marketing or leadership is like the pinnacle of network marketing career. You guys are in it, and you're preparing to be leaders. And, of course, this is where you build the big teams and make the big money, too. But it's also where you affect the most people in the world. Gets you to think bigger than ever before and duplicate and replicate the good. So we use this at home and everyday life in our business, all of these principles led by Jeffrey David Gamble, certified John Maxwell trainer, speaker, and coach. And it was no small accomplishment that he became all this. Both in time and money and everything. So that's how we're able to do this class, actually. So before we get started, we want to encourage you to grab a pen and paper and let you know what's coming up here. The MLM Lunchtime Show, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Time. We've been doing this for a year. We're celebrating our year's anniversary with Think and Grow Rich. This month, all of June, we're covering that whole book. And as a special, anniversary month here. And the chapter that we're covering tomorrow is persistence, what it takes to generate that fire of desire and make our dreams come true. So he has a lot of really good tips on persistence we're going to share with you guys tomorrow. You can follow along in the book, Think and Grow Rich, of course, which we're about halfway through. And on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, every Tuesday, Jeff and I bring a sample to everyone of our school, the Quick Start Basics classes. And this coming Tuesday will be a way to assess your network marketing business using the 10 core commitments. And I'll share with you guys right now. You just rate yourself on 1 to 10 of those 10 core as a way to know where you are, where's your strengths, and where's your weaknesses in your network marketing business. You can do that for yourself and your group, too. On Sunday night, of course, is our Quick Start Basics class, our Fundamental Basics class. I was just talking with a new lady about that today. We are going to have an open house on Sunday, July 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Separate from the class that night, it's going to be teaching people the Always Get a Yes method, the favor script, and the method. And we're also going to have a lovely free book giveaway that night. We're going to give away lots of personal growth books, so y'all can register to win for that. We invite you to join in, learn deeper that method, and be eligible by attending, by getting your free ticket at the link that is in the Facebook group, our private Facebook group, the MLM Millionaire Club. There's a link for Eventbrite, get a free ticket for this. And you can share that link with anybody and invite them to join along and to compete with you for the free books. Now we're going to be giving away quite a lot, so I think there will be many people will win. So when they get a ticket, they get registered to enter the drawing for the free books. And I think the greatest prize of all is for them to learn the Always Get a Yes method, the favor script, and the method. Because what's that worth to them? It's going to be invaluable. So that's what you can attend and bring friends to, as well as the lunchtime show. So why leadership? Well, how well you do here in this class in leadership determines how well you will lead people through the 10 core. We can't emphasize enough how valuable this is to go through the basics until you master them. I haven't, and I don't think Jeff has, because I don't think there's ever an end to the mastery. That's always going to be one more step in our life. And So we'll probably be bringing these to network marketers for all eternity to get deeper, take the next step, and grow. And this leadership class helps you to implement those. So we will begin with, we'll launch right into the 101 collection, Success, with Jeff.
Alrighty, can you hear me? It's really coming in and out, so I don't know if that's me or the recording or the audio, but okay, seems to be okay for the moment. Just pulling up my notes here on my phone because I had to put them on my phone because I'm actually in another room, so that way the business is growing, so we got people in and out of here. Let there be light. Okay. So here we go. It says, what every leader needs to know about success. It says part 1, the right picture of success. So what is success? Obviously, it would be very hard to, strive for something if we don't know what it is. It says you cannot achieve what you have not defined. What I really like is one of my leaders and one of my mentors, David Bird, said, success, he said that success is almost like a destination or destination disease. He liked the word achievement better because achievement is something that's ongoing. And achievement is basically doing the right thing. Achieve what the end result that you want to get is. So John talks about the right picture of success. He said 2 things are required, the right picture and the right principles. He said the picture is not the same for any 2 people. So this also comes to what your dream is. What is your dream of success? Some people the dream is money. Some people the dream is title. Some people the dream is destination. Some people the dream, it's different for every single person. So I don't know about you, Bess, but every single one of us is floating in and out of connection. Is the voice clear at least? Because that's what's happening on my computer. What's going on with you guys? It says the right picture is not the same for any 2 people, but the process is the same for everybody to get there. It says success is basically knowing your life's purpose. And if you know life's purpose, it's a lot easier to do everything. Rick Warren says, in the purpose-driven life, his view was pretty cool. He says, I know 2 things. There is a God and I am not him. It says knowing your life's purpose. It says growing to reach your maximum potential and growing seeds that benefit others. So knowing your purpose is extremely, extremely important for what I'm searching. That's one of the questions. What are you searching for? What are you trying to create? Why was I created? And do I believe in potential? Growing towards your potential. Unable network detected. Switching to standard. Interesting.
Yeah, you may want to turn your video off, Jeff.
We're getting all kinds of
feedback here. The sound is fine,
here.
but the video is breaking up.
How is it coming on your end?
The video's choppy, but your voice is fine, so we can hear you.
Okay, well, it's the voice. The recording is the most important part.
Right. So if you turn off your video, it may help.
Connection prevented. Present. So basically it's turning off all the video. Okay, well that pretty much solves it. We can still hear everybody, so that works. And I'm sure it's some kind of update or something because I just got 2 updates both on Mac and on my other one too, so part of the problem. Jim's here. All right, so he goes on to talk about, he says, growing to your potential. Okay, network collection percent. Yes, just stop. Okay. Okay, we're still here. We're still rolling. It just asked me to turn off. This is really interesting. Show original. So give me 1 second, guys. Here we're having a little technical difficulty, but it appears that everybody's still here and it's still rolling. So that's good. Beth, can you just still hear me fine?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to keep going. It says growing. So for what am I searching for? Why was I created? In my potential, when do I start? Growing to your potential. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. So what John talks about is concentrate on one main goal, concentrate on continual improvement, and forget about the past, focus on the future. He who does not look ahead remains behind. So sowing seeds that benefit others. So John's definition of success is that, but what we're here to talk about is success inside of direct sales and network marketing. And success inside of direct sales and network marketing, inside of your own company, can have many, many, many different definitions. Again, some people is a title, some people is a level in a company, some people is money. If you look from the outside looking in, I would say most of the time, most people are looking at the amount of money made inside of the industry. And I found it very rare, if near impossible, to be looked at as a success from the outside world without having some financial, return. Although I believe people are successful inside of their business and they don't have financial return, because you can actually get started in direct sales, use the product, and the success is product and getting the benefit. I mean, that's as far as some people want to go, and that person absolutely positively is successful in it because that's exactly what we're designed to use it for. And that's why they signed up, and the money's well worth it. To them. So that's the first step, is just figuring out what you want. I think way too many companies talk about, what is your dream, what is your desire, what is your this, what is your that, instead of saying, hey, to be successful in this company, the first step is. To be successful in this company, the third step is. And just walking people through each step, each level, each volume, to achieve a higher and higher rank. And I really like how David Bird put it. He says, nature, nothing stands still. In nature, nothing stands still. You're either dying and decaying, or you're growing and, kind of birthing a new idea and or a new skill, a new talent, a new level. You have to be growing. So, rotting or ripening, is kind of the step using. And I think that has a lot to do success inside of business, inside of life, really. So I'm going to move on to chapter 2. It says, what direction should I go? You will never go further than your dreams will take you. It says, too many people are on a trip with no destination, no charted course. Just out there doing it. These are the people, I feel, this is when people are like, well, I'm just trying to be comfortable. I'm just trying to be okay. It's a lot of very vague, ambiguous conversation and or words. There's no definite to anything they talk about. Everything's about and maybe and kind of and sort of, and it'd be nice and it'd be good and it'd be fun, but there are no definite goals. And what he says is, you'll never go further than your dreams will take you. Too many people are on a trip with no destination, no charted course. The power of a dream. It says a dream does many things for most of us. It said a dream gives direction, which of course. A dream increases our potential of what we're able to do. Our dream helps us prioritize. I think that's one of the most important things. Prioritizing what needs to get done in what order. A dream adds value to the work we're doing. A dream predicts the future, and a dream will take your dream to you. Where will your dream take you next is basically the question. It can take you in many, many different directions, but specifically, where's your dream going to take you to? So the second one is, what direction should you go? We broke down the other day, and those 10 categories happen to be part of the achievement system that I learned through my training with David Bird. Only the 10 categories are mine, not his. And what I mean by that is he said, make a dreams list of, all of your dreams. And I said, okay. And I sat down, and he goes, you really want to make a dreams list of as many dreams as you can possibly come up with. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. You know, having more dreams is better. I get that. That makes sense. But here's what I found, is most people, when they actually tried to sit down and write out a dreams list of basically every possible dream that they've ever had, we had people write a list of 1 to 100, just like he said. He says, you know, you want to write down 100 some dreams. And here's what I found. Most people, when writing down dreams, they could only get somewhere between 20 and 30 dreams down. Which I thought was really interesting. And I guess one of the reasons I thought it was so interesting that people could only write down that many dreams is, I'm like, how many people have I sat down and talked to that really have a hard time with this, and they're not moving? If you can't write down a bunch of dreams, you don't have a bunch of reasons. And if you don't have a bunch of reasons, you're not going to get moving because there's not enough reasons to get moving. And eventually, I was reading probably another book or something online, across this really cool statement that said we think in pictures. And not only pictures are what we use to identify everything we do. You actually don't think in words, you think in pictures, and you come up with a picture, and then the picture represents the word. If you understand psychology, that's basically a very crude way of saying how it works. So after doing this experiment several times in several workshops and trying to get people to list out 100 dreams, one of them I came up with is I said, you know, really, if we think like that and we think in categories, what I'll do is I'll separate it into 10 categories. I did pull up Tony Robbins' goal sheet. I pulled up several people's goal sheets from inside and outside of the industry of direct sales, and I kind of eventually narrowed it down to these 10 categories. And these 10 categories also have a little bit to do with John Goddard's list. And if you don't know John Goddard and his story of who he is and what he was able to accomplish, it's probably one of the most amazing things that you'll ever see. The reason being is John Goddard's list, if you don't know the story, he basically was born in 1924 in Salt Lake City, Utah, son of basically Jack Goddard, and basically was raised in Los Angeles, California. And he ended up, this is really cool if you kind of read the story, he's actually called the real-life Indiana Jones by the LA Times. It says, Goddard will be remembered as the world's greatest achiever and survivor of numerous possible almost death. Your succession.
Okay, looks like Jeff left, and perhaps he's trying to come in and get back in. Meanwhile, I will have put in some additional little garnishes to starting with Chapter 1. So he says in Chapter 1, what is success? And I just love that the first thing he says there is the main obstacle for most people is not that they can't achieve success, it's that they misunderstand success. And of course he defines it in all these different ways. You know, Bill Gates would be wealth, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Marilyn Monroe, it might be their bodies, their physique, Albert Einstein is intelligence, Michael Jordan the athletic, Donald Trump the business acuity, and Jackie Kennedy the social grace and poise, and I think of Princess Diana in here too, and Walt Disney imagination, and Mother Teresa her heart. So we define our own level of success, right? It doesn't always have to mean money. And hi Jeff, what I'm doing is I'm just going over Chapter 1, and I'll let you continue on 2, I guess.
Okay, perfect.
Or do you want to jump right in where you started, because I'll remember where I am.
No, you're good.
Okay, so on Chapter 1, the don't look to the past. I immediately thought of, remember in the Bible, Lot's wife, they're going to this, you know, on their journey, or they're going to the new land, and they say don't look back. Well, she's the one that's tempted to look back. She turns into a pillar of salt. And so the lesson of that's what we can do in our consciousness. It can paralyze us or freeze us and make us unable to go forward, right? So I always like to say, don't let my past define me. Let me be fresh. Let me start new. And let's give this to other people too. Our mates, our friends, people that we know. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they're starting fresh and they're able to start new, and let go of that. How freeing is that? To imagine that you could have a new, fresh, clean slate, even a new lifetime. And that's why children are so energetic. You know, they have their whole life before them. They don't have to worry about, or any old memories or baggage or anything like that coming in, unless you believe in past lives. So we all have our lessons to work on, but the energy, the freshness, the possibilities that a child sees, we can give ourselves that going forward, keeping that fresh dream. And the dream, growing to your potential. So when he says that, let's see, a dream is oh yeah, okay, I'm going into the dream chapter. I'll turn it over to you, Jeff, for chapter 2, where you were.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were going in what direction to go. You'll never go further than your dream takes you. Too many people are on a trip with no destination, no charted course. It says the power of a dream. A dream does many things, give direction, increases our potential, helps us utilize priorities. A dream adds value to our work, predicts our future, and where will the dream take you? So that's what John has. And what I was able to do is pull this up from my notes, now that I'm back online and it's actually working. As I was going over John Goddard, so John Goddard was, okay, here we go. The world's greatest, most famous anthropologist, explorer, adventurer, called the real-life Indiana Jones by the LA Times. Goddard will be remembered as the world's greatest goal achiever and survivor of numerous where'd it go? Numerous edge-of-death experiences through his 88.5 years of life. He's documented his adventures on film and showed them to thousands of people around the world. And it's basically, his motto was, to dare is to do, to fear is to fail. And these are excerpts from basically Chicken Soup for the Soul. One rainy afternoon, inspired 15-year-old boy named John Goddard sat down at the kitchen table in Los Angeles and wrote out 3 words: my life list. And under the heading, he wrote down 127 goals. These were not simple or easy goals. They included climbing major mountains, exploring the mouths of the longest rivers, piloting the world's fastest aircraft, and running 5 miles, and reading the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. So I'm just going to kind of list out some of these areas, because, when you talk about goal setting, most people, talk about goal setting, and it's very like, well, I'd like to have a new house, or I'd like to make some money. I mean, it's very generic. It's very unthoughtful. It's very, passive. But I think this is like the dead opposite. This is, super intelligent and super detailed for a 15-year-old kid, for sure. But for any human being on Earth, this was amazing. So explore. So this was underneath the category explore: the Nile River, Amazon River, Congo River, Colorado, the Yangtze, the Niger River, the Orinoco, and Rio Conoco, which is in Nicaragua. Study primitive societies: the Congo, New Guinea, Brazil, Burma, the Sudan, Australia, Kenya, the Philippines, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Alaska. He wanted to climb Mount Everest, Mount, and I can't even pronounce it, it's in Argentina, Mount Kinley, Mount Hurakasan, which is in Peru, Mount Kilimanjaro, which is very famous, Mount Ararat in Turkey, Kenya, Mount Cook, another one in Mexico I can't pronounce, the Matterhorn, which is one of the top 4 hardest ones to climb, the Rainier, the Fuji, Versailles, Bromo, Grand Tetons, which are in Utah, I believe, or Wyoming. They're in Wyoming. Mount Brady in California. Carry out careers in medicine and exploration. Study, treat illnesses on primitive tribes. Visit every country in the world. He had 30 to go when he passed away. and there's about 200 countries. Study Navajo and Hopi Indians, learn to fly a plane, and ride a horse in a parade. Photography. He wanted a photographer. Agaju Falls in Brazil, Victoria Falls in Rio de Janeiro, that's basically South Africa, Southern Falls in New Zealand, Yosemite Falls, Niagara Falls, and retraces the travels of Marco Polo and Alexander the Great. Obviously, Marco Polo went across the United States, and Alexander the Great conquered, most of Europe. So he had a lot of walking to do. Explore underwater, coral reefs, the Great Barrier Reef, the Red Sea, the Fuji Islands, the Bahamas, and explore the swamps in the Everglades in Okefenokee. I can't even pronounce it, but you guys know where I'm talking about, the Everglades down in Florida. So visit North and South Pole. There's only about 10 people on the planet who have done that, both visited the North and the South Poles and been able to stay for any length period of time. The Great Wall of China, the Panama and Suez Canal, Easter Island, the Galapagos Islands, the Vatican City, the Taj Mahal, the Eiffel Tower, the Blue Grotto, the Tower of London, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Sacred Wall of Chichen Itza in Mexico, which I've actually been to, which is cool. Climb the Algiers Rock in Australia, which is that big, huge thing out in the middle of basically nowhere, and then follow the Jordan River from the Sea of Galilee to the Dead Sea. So we're only at 67, and I'm not going to read all these, but I think you guys get the point. This was just part of this kid's list at 15. First of all, I didn't even know where he got most of this. Like, I've had to look some of it up just to find out, which tells me two things: how god-awful school has become to actually teach you and learn some of this, and also what kind of imagination you have as a 15-year-old to be able to look this stuff up and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. The rest of it included, music lessons, learning to play the piano, learning to play the violin, fly a helicopter, and so on and so forth. And the interesting thing is he actually accomplished about 100, I think it was 113 or 117 of the 127 in his lifetime by the age of 88. So I think John's point to saying the dream gives you the destination, the drive, the priorities is absolutely positively true. So we're going to move on to Chapter 3. It says, what role does failure play in success? So what role does failure play when trying to be successful? It says you cannot succeed unless you are willing to fail. It says too many people believe the process of achieving success is supposed to be easy. And I see this all the time. They're like, well, I'm just supposed to be passionate about something, and if I'm passionate about something, first of all, I'll love every part of it. And what I can say is that's absolutely untrue. The person who's trying to sell you that is trying to sell you a course in BS. And there's a lot of courses like that out there that you're just supposed to love every single thing. And if you don't love it and you're not passionate, then you shouldn't do it. And that's horse crap because, as John Maxwell well put, anything worthwhile is uphill. Everything worthwhile is uphill. Which would tell me right away that if you have a dream that's big, you're going to have to go through some stuff you're not necessarily going to like to get there. Most successful people that I know, 50% of their day or 50% of the stuff that they do, they don't like doing, but it's necessary to do to get to where you need to go. So I believe failure is just going to be part of that. You will not succeed unless you're willing to fail. It says too many people believe the process of achieving is supposed to be easy. So failure is not. Failure is not. People think failure is avoidable. It's not. People think failure is an event. It's not. People think failure is objective, and it's not. People think failure is the enemy, and it's not. And people think failure is irreversible, and it's not. People think failure is a stigma, and it's not. And people think failure is final, and it's not. So John basically lays it out and says, failure is not what it's about, but failing forward. And a friend of mine drew out this really, really cool analogy. And he basically said, if you put 2 points on a piece of paper and, one is failure and one is success, he goes, what most people think happens is you start somewhere in the middle, and every single time you move, and he was using a presentation in the business, he goes, most people think every time you do a presentation, you're actually moving in the direction. If you're not getting anybody in, you're moving in the direction of failure. And he goes, what's actually inaccurate is every time you do a presentation, you're picking up 1% things that you can't physically see, you can't physically know. You're not going to be able to connect the dots moving forward, but you're able to connect the dots moving backwards. So he said, what happens is you move closer and closer and closer to success. He goes, but what happens happens is most people don't ever get to the point where it starts working because they don't do it long enough, they don't do it consistent enough, like what David Byrd said. So therefore they stop. And when they stop because they haven't seen success, they feel like they're closer to failure than they are to success, and it's exactly the opposite. I've seen it also drawn out top to bottom, and they said, most people would think failure was on the bottom and, average is in the middle and success is at the very top of the page. And he said, the reality is success is just a little bit above what average is. Most people just don't realize is there's not a whole lot more to do because there's not a whole lot more time in the day. It's just doing a couple simple things consistently over a long enough period of time to achieve success in whatever area you're planning or spending time doing. So that's what I have for the first 3 chapters. I'm going to turn this over to Bess. See if we can get the next 3. I'll have you on mute.
Right. It's me. Okay, so mostly what I have to share is about the part about dreams. I think that's really, really big. He says, I believe that each of us has a dream placed in the heart. And I think that a dream is sacred. It's from the divine. When something speaks to our heart, we can honor that. We can give it its due sacred respect and treasure it. Something speaks to us, how beautiful that is, and to commit to manifest that, commit to follow that, follow your heart, right? So, very sacred thing. I look at it as a map. It says a dream gives us direction and potential and priorities and value and predicts the future. So I look at it as the map. It contains the passion, it contains the direction, it contains the purpose, and you don't always have to know the how right then, though. If you just say yes to your dream, if something inspires your heart, like, for example, I have been given the gift of letting my son let me know that I'm going to be a grandma. And I'll tell you, all of a sudden, my life shifted to I'm going to be living in California half the time. I love living in Kansas. I have a lot of family here, and the depth of that, and nieces, nephews, and brother and sister here and everything. So I don't want to completely leave here, but I want to be definitely a part of their family too, my son's family and their life, and be a part of that grandchild's life. I don't know why, but something just calling me. I got to do it. I'm going to be, maybe I'll have 2 homes, one there, one here, and divide my time somehow. I don't know how. I'll figure it out. I do have an idea how it can happen, but it is making me put more love in my business because there's a lot that I want to give the child that I'll grow from my business, but including money. It is speaking to me. It's becoming a why, stronger than ever before. Even though the dream and the purpose and the thrill of helping network marketers help people, that's really huge. But this is just an extra personal one, an extra personal dream, and it speaks to my heart. It's like, man, I got to do this. It makes me feel alive. It gives me another reason to love and give, and I'm sending him a special blanket that my neighbor made for the baby, and my niece has thrown in some Curious George children's books because the blanket has some monkeys on it. So we're having so much fun. This child has so much love surrounding it even before it gets here. That's the dream that I'm following. It's been given to my heart. It's like I want nothing more than to follow my heart and to manifest all the things that I'm dreaming. And it plays into all my previous dreams too, of helping network marketers have a better life, and parents to be home with their kids, and people to get out of bad job situations, and seniors to have a better retirement, and people to get out of debt, especially students that can't get rid of their student loans. So these are my dreams. These are my particular dreams, and my map, and the how will come. We don't need the how right away. You want to go to California? You can, figure out You can figure out the, drive, fly, swim, crawl, whatever. You can figure that out. Transport, like Star Trek, I don't know. But, it can be figured out. The thing is that you know where you want to go, and life will provide the way. And I always say to the divine, bring me this or something greater, because I don't really want to limit myself to my dream. I might have this great dream, and I say, if it is your will, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do with what comes to me, and this is how I'm going to serve life with it. But I don't really want to be my own limit on my dream, so I always say this or something greater. Now, sometimes we want something that we say, well, I want to move to California, but life might want us in Tennessee. So that might be the thing that's greater, because there's a reason for that. Like, there's something special in Tennessee for me. So that's where being flexible with our dream instead of attached, I think, comes in too. This or something greater. If I want $1 million, maybe life wants me to have $100 million, $1 billion. So why not be open to that? Why limit myself with what I want? And they say, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. I think that's what John Goddard did. Even though he didn't get all of his bucket list done, he got a heck of a lot more done than if he wouldn't have written that stuff. How much do you think he would have gotten done and accomplished, all these things that he loved in his life? He probably lived his life to a 10 constantly, very, 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 very high quality life. If he wouldn't have written that stuff down, or studied about these places, or learned about these weird places, weird things to do, or researched that, how many do you think he would have done? Probably none, or a handful, right? And if you wouldn't have written them down, writing them down can remind us of the things that we dreamed about that we might have forgotten. Oh yeah, that does mean a lot to me. I don't want to forget that one. It said if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. So let it take us outside of our comfort zone. Let us do that. We probably forgot how to dream when we were kids growing up and we're told to go to school, be realistic, grow up. That's a pipe dream. Get real. Don't shoot too high. You'll be disappointed. Oh, that makes me cringe. Don't shoot too high or you'll be disappointed. I have coached people who said, I need to have short achievable goals, because if I have too high ones, it discourages me if I don't reach it this month. If I want to jump for my next rank and I don't reach it, it discourages me. So I'm going to set a small goal so that I reach that, so I don't get discouraged and quit. But I really like the other way of shooting bodaciously, really, really high, and like John Goddard, and then maybe I'll get farther. Maybe if I shoot for the stars, I'll hit the moon. I really like that. So when we are young, you might have heard, well, keep your feet on the ground, be realistic. Don't shoot for that. That's impossible. Nobody can achieve that, or very few people achieve that. Well, why wouldn't you be one of those people? Just because you believe it, darn it. Just because you want it and you're willing to plan and work for it. Why wouldn't you be the 1%? Just because 1%, 5% of people make it in network marketing, or 10% do. Well, why wouldn't you be that 10%? Somebody said that to me the other day. That's a rare thing. Only 5% of people do it. Well, I'm a 5% kind of good gal. So why not shoot for that? So the getting our feet on the ground part, that's not about the dreaming, but it is about the strategy and planning and taking action. That takes getting our feet on the ground and saying, where's realistic to start? I got to start where I am now with what I have. I can do that. Even though that's a huge, huge dream, let me start where I am now with what I have now and take my steps now. That's getting our feet on the ground. And then learning what you need to know, the skills and the things that we need to know to get there. That's getting our feet on the ground about our dream. But the dream doesn't need to be on the ground. So first we decide what, and then we decide how. Now, there is a guy named Robert Schuller who said, What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? And I would like to take a quiet minute right now and invite you to ask yourself this. You can sit back and close your eyes if you want to, but grab your paper and pen and be ready to write something down. When I ask you, and then I'd like to have silence for 60 seconds, I'd like to ask you, what would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? So I invite you to write that down. It changes things when you know you can't fail, doesn't it? So see how much we fear failure? So Napoleon Hill in our Think and Grow Rich book that we're going through right now, he says, failure is, we're into the third chapter here. Failure is not defeat. And it's not an event, and it's not a label. It's not a definition of you. It is a lesson. And so Hill says there's 4 steps to success. 1 is you set a goal. Number 2, you fail. Part of the plan. Number 3, you learn from that failure. Number 4, you succeed. Like, man, it's got to be part of the path. It's got to be part of success. I got to fail. Yeah, I got to fail. And I think that what would you do if you knew you could not fail is to carry you through the failure. But it's okay. It's not the enemy. It is our friend. It is our teacher. Yeah, failure is a teacher. How about that? Let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's all. It's not irreversible. It's not a stigma. It's not final. We can turn anything around. I get discouraged and sometimes feel like giving up. But was it Jim Rohn or somebody said, life is hard, but quitting is not going to make it happen any faster. Quitting is not going to make it any faster. And let's not wish life was easier. Let's wish we were better. And rather than quit, let's learn and let's get good. So back to you, Jeff.
Okay, so I jumped over here too. So we're on chapter 4. It says, how do I get started? The first step towards success is leading yourself exceptionally well, so that, of course, it's going to take you to take self-inventory of what's going on. It says take care of these 7 areas. So what successful people must do is self-manage. And here's the 7 areas he said you need to manage. Number 1, you need to manage your emotion. He says nobody likes to spend time basically with an emotional time bomb who may go off at any moment. Nobody likes drama. So emotions for the good of the team is not for the gain of off the team. So this is one of the number 1 things I see people lose out is they're emotional based, is, they feel they need to do something, and it's basically all internal, it's selfish, and they end up screwing themselves and screwing up their own team. And I've seen it happen a lot inside of direct sales and network marketing. 2, it says manage your time, prioritize your time. Until you value yourself, you won't value your time. I see this happen a lot. you don't really pay for anything with money. You pay for it with time, because money you can get more of, time you can't. So what is worth spending your life on is really important. Number 3 is your priorities. It says average people know a little bit about a lot, but of worthless things. So average people know a little bit about a lot of worthless things. Successful people know a lot about a few important things. It says if you chase 2 rabbits, both will escape. Comes from Proverbs. It says 80% of the time work where you are the strongest. 15% of the time work where you're learning, and 5% of the time work on anything else that needs to be done. Number 4, manage your energy. The ABCs of energy drain: activity without direction, burden without action, conflict without resolution. One of the number 1 things that I see people waste their energy on is trying to make a decision that should have been easy to begin with if you already knew what your dream and your value and your goal was. If you have your dream and you have your values, or you have your values first and then your dreams, one of those order, then it's really easy to set a goal, and once you have that goal, it's very easy to figure out what to do. But most people don't have those 2 things set, so therefore they look at stuff and go, well, I guess what should I do next? Well, I'll sit around, and then all of a sudden we start, well, I'm kind of hungry, and now I'll go eat, and you know, it's a constant day avoidance of what we actually have to get done. I'm talking about myself. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. This is what I do. You know, hey, Lord of the Rings is on, maybe I'll watch the first one, but then I have to watch the second one, and then, you know, if you watch the first and the second one, you know, right, Jim, you got to watch the third. And then, you know, oh my gosh, The Hobbit, that came before, and that's another 12 and a half hours, so we got to see those. But I want to get the extended version. Maybe that's just me. 5, it says manage your thinking. It says, you know, your mind will give back to you exactly what you put in it. So, you know, garbage in, garbage out. One of my mentors said, you know, your head is not a hairy trash can with a lid. The greatest enemy of good thinking is busyness. Oh, I'm really busy. So the people who constantly go around saying they're busy, they're actually not busy. Usually they're just undecisive people. Number 6, manage your words. And this is the dead giveaway when I talk to people, is as soon as they start saying kind of, maybe, sort of, I'm thinking, I mean, I know right away. A, there's usually a self-esteem problem. B, there's a decision-making problem. C, there's a discipline problem. Obviously, there's a lot of problems going on, but it all kind of revolves around when you fix the inside, it fixes the outside. Meaning, if you fix the inside, how somebody's feeling about who they are and what they do, a lot of times they're able to do more, and they're more decisive, and those words tend to not come out quite so often. Number 7, manage your personal life. It says you can do everything right at work and manage yourself well there, but if your personal life is a mess, it'll eventually screw up everything. If you ever watch Just Do It by A.L. Williams, A.L. Williams basically, you know, talks about this philosophy of trying to separate your business life and your personal life. He says, I'm sorry, you can't do it. He's like, you're going to bring that stuff home. It's going to get involved in everything else. It's going to be a mess. So manage your personal life. It says the better you are at making sure you're doing what you should be doing, the better chances you are for making an impact on basically being successful at other places. So that's chapter 4, which is awesome, you know, managing those 7 areas. And if you want to be successful, it's absolutely true. If you look at the people who are successful, they're managing these areas. There are some people who financially have success but are a mess in some of these areas, and usually they either lose the money or a lot of money gets taken from them because they're a mess in one of those areas. Part 2, it says the core qualities for success. So chapter 5 is how well do I work with people? It is no exaggeration to say that the ability to work with people is the most important ingredient for success. Andrew Carnegie talks about this, obviously. It does not matter what you want to do if you can win with people, you basically can win. It says some people add something to life, we enjoy them. Some people subtract something from life, we tolerate them. Some people multiply something in life, and we value them. It says you must intentional, strategic, and skilled to multiply. So you're going to have to learn some stuff, you're going to have to practice it, and you're going to have to get good at it for it really to work. Number 4, some people divide something in life and we try to avoid them. Or we should avoid them. A lot of people don't avoid them, but we should. It says take others to a higher level. It says lifters commit themselves to daily encouragement. Lifters know the little difference that separates hurting and helping, and lifters initiate the positive in a negative environment. Lifters understand life is not a dress rehearsal. So if you're going to lift people up, A, it's going to be intentional. B, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to put some thought into it. It's not always easy. Basically, what you're doing is you're being selfless instead of selfish. And the reason most of us are selfish is because our basic human instinct is actually built to keep us safe. It's built to look at us first and everybody else last. So anytime we go out of our way to look to help others, you're basically going against your basic human instinct. So if you aren't writing, if you aren't tracking, if you aren't being conscious of it, it's very easy to slip back into self-preservation. 6, do others find me trustworthy? It says trust is the foundation of all relationships, the importance of character. Character is more important than talk. No matter how great of a speaker you are, if people know that you're not trustworthy, it will not matter. It says talent is a gift, but character is a choice. Because obviously you're going to be tempted to do what's best for you always. Are you going to do it? Character brings lasting success with people. It says people cannot rise above the limitation of their character. Building character. It says to improve, do the following. Search for the cracks. Where are you shaky in something that's going on? 2, look for the patterns. Where have you in the past screwed up? 3, face the music. If you do have one of these, character flaws or weaknesses, you basically are going to have to, A, admit it to be able to fix it, and 4, how do you rebuild it? And John, in several of his books, talks about going back and rebuilding it, one of which is Everybody Communicates If You Connect. Another one is Winning with People. I actually think Winning with People is probably one of my favorite John C. Maxwell books because Everybody Communicates If You Connect talk about a lot of situational things, but Winning with People actually talks about the psychology of how to do it, where Everybody Communicates If You Connect is more about building long term. I don't know, there's slightly, I think the first one is like the basics, and Everybody Communicates If You Connect is more of the advanced book. That's just my personal opinion. So that's one of the books that I like the most. But that's what I have for chapters 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to turn this over to Bess, or back over to you to get your thoughts, and then we'll do the takeaway. And you'll have to unmute that from your side.
Okie doke. Chapter 4, about how do I get started, and I want to talk about, on page 323, he says, action, doing things that don't seem to matter, or not being able to do the things that really do matter. So just wanted to take a moment and think, where does that show up in our lives? What do I do that doesn't seem to matter or play into my goals or contribute to my goals? And if you want to make a note of that, just giving us a chance to turn this into applying to our lives. So maybe you want to make a note of, what do I do that doesn't seem to matter to my goals, that is, to what's my priorities. For a lot of people, that could be TV or video games or getting lost on social media. Many times I go, okay, I have a definite goal. I turn on my Facebook and I have a definite goal to go to my page and upload a video to YouTube or something like that. But all of a sudden, Facebook shows me my friend's feed and go, oh, look at that, and look at that, and oh, they're building a house, and there's my my nephew's kids, and I have to look at that, and I have to look at that, and so on and so on. Or that would be good business to interact with this person or support them. And all of a sudden, I'm about usually 5 posts in when I catch myself. Now, what did I come here for? So Facebook has a way of doing that, and then when I turn on YouTube to go do some marketing there or put up a video there, YouTube has a way of showing me the videos similar to the ones I've already liked and watched, or I go and turn on my browser and it shows me 3 articles, really interesting articles, because it knows what I read before and what I'm interested in, so it pulls up these cool topics and titles that entice me to look at it. So what are the things that don't seem to matter? Anyway, that's my worst areas that I just mentioned. getting distracted, almost like, oh, there's a squirrel, oh, but that's interesting. Oh, I have to know that, or what are the reasons that our schools are not going to fix the this or that today? Oh, I have to know that, but they sure pull me in. So what I can be learning from that, though, is marketing. The headline does it all, right? The catchy headline. If they can really trick you, oh, I have to know that thing, or what could that be? What in the world do they mean by that? So I could learn from that and say, okay, I'll put that in my swipe file if something really seems compelling. I have a file that I collect of really cool headlines. I have to get better at that, but that's how marketers can get us off track. So watch out for that. Or what else in your life? That's me, being online. I don't have a TV. I don't have a whole lot of other distractions in my life. I can be pretty focused, but what about your life? What can get you off track? People calling up. I was just coaching a lady today, and she was saying that distractions can get me off track, like things that people need. They might call up and say, well, can you help do this or that, or can you volunteer here or there? And I used to do that a lot, volunteer, and now I have to think, what would be the best thing for me to do? Follow this person, help this person, or stay on track with what I had going on today. And sometimes I have to ask my own inner guidance, because sometimes I do want to help that person. Sometimes it's right. There is no one set answer that I have, and nor do I rigidly put on my blinders and say no matter what. There could be some consideration I need to pull into. But what I do have is that I can ask my inner guidance every moment about every direction. The best what you should be doing. You know what the right thing here to do is. What is that? And it said that nothing is too small to ask that question. Everything is worth asking that question of. Many times I forget to ask it, though, and I'll just, knee-jerk go here or there or do something. So what are the things that don't seem to matter? And what are the things that I'm not able to do that really do matter? Been trying to get my website finished, and I seem to put that off in lieu of talking to people about our school, or more immediate things that are more profitable, more productive, show more production, and get my website done. So I seem to put that last, but at some point I'm going to have to bring that up to the foreground and organize papers and stuff like that. I know that is income-producing activities, but it is support work that will support the income-producing activities. So what are the things I'm not able to get to that do matter? But still, we put the most important things in our day first. Same chapter 5:4 yet. Manage our thinking. I wanted to note about that. Manage our thinking. We all have what I call an inner critic. Usually it came from our parents when we were little, that says, you can't, or look at this, see, this always happens to me. See, there it is again. I told you this always happens. Or I can't do that. I don't deserve that. Who do I think I am? So this is very toxic thinking from when we were kids that we can carry around with us, even though we don't need to anymore. Even though that inner critic or parent, and all of us had, I think, loving parents, but also human parents. So it said that all families are dysfunctional to some degree. And so whatever that dysfunction is, we can absorb that. We can carry it around with us, even though that parent might not live with us anymore, or even be on this earth world anymore. We can still hear that same voice keep replaying in our head. So even though that parent is not there to do it, we can take up the job. We can do it to ourselves. And let's pay attention to that and catch it before it goes underground again and back into our subconscious or unconscious. When I hear myself saying something, or beating myself up in some way, get that out, take a look at it, and I can say, is this true? How do I know that this is true? And that kind of busts it right there. Any judgment about myself or even about other people or life. So that's one way to get rid of that inner critic. Number one step is to be aware of it and then take a good look at it. Is this true? That's a technique by Byron Katie, a personal growth teacher. That's how she actually exploded judgments, got rid of judgments that we can carry about ourselves or about other people. To say, is that true? And, can I actually prove that that's true? That person's a stinker. That person's a thoughtless person. Is that true? Can I really prove that that's true? Most of the time, it's just our own viewpoint. Next, he says, manage your words. That can rely on self-esteem. And it said that the most powerful word in the universe is the word that follows I am blank. I am blank. I am happy. I am a victim. I am a professional network marketer. I am a leader. I'm a generous person. Or I am getting by. I am dumb. I'm stupid. I'm a failure. So watch what we put after that. Watch what we tell ourselves, I am. So watch your outer words and also the internal words. Jeff, you started out by saying that you've seen a lot of the emotion, people that don't manage themselves or manage their emotions in network marketing. And gosh, I've seen people just want to get out of network marketing because much of their company or their upline or crossline was full of jealousy, gossip, lies, backbiting, would make them want to quit the profession altogether. But of course, that's not the profession, that's the people in it. You can find that in any profession, any business. But it took some coaching to work with this person, help her to become more immune to these things and realize that there's a lesson here for her to get strong. So rather than leave or quit that company, before we get out of a negative situation, it's a good idea to ask ourselves, have I learned what I came here to learn? Is it time for me to leave, or am I leaving a lesson that I could learn from and I'll just take to the next company or the next situation or the next job? Is there something here yet for me to learn before we leave something? Is it trying to teach me something? And let me learn that thing before I leave. Even if it's a marriage, a job, any negative situation, maybe it's a gift, but don't stay longer than that, because you don't need to be a victim either. Okay. How well do I work with people? That's a good one to ask the people, right? Especially our mates or our teammates, to get feedback from other people that can see things we can't see. I was in a personal growth class one time and had a lot of feedback from the teacher, and this is a deep one. This is a 2-year personal growth class to train holistic health practitioners and body-mind therapists. So we had to be brave enough to face ourselves. But I got feedback from the teacher and from other people that they could see my imperfections, so why try to hide them? Because people could see them anyway. And I was just like devastated, like, man, I can't hide them. And I was so worried about being accepted. But if you can, it's a very brave thing to ask other people, what do you think I need to work on? Like me, I could ask my sister, she'd be brutally honest. But maybe our mate or a friend that we trust, to do it with kindness. To ask others, and do they find me trustworthy? What can I work on? It takes a lot of love for ourselves to be able to do this. And a lot of people don't want to do it because they don't have that much self-esteem to weather the answers. And that is why we do not want to own up to our own mistakes, our own responsibilities, because the self-esteem is not there to handle that. In fact, when we look at ourselves in any negative way or hear anything negative about ourselves, if our self-esteem isn't there, we can just crumble and want to run from it or want to quit that thing. You know, I don't like this game, I'm going to take my jacks and go home. And I feel like that all the time, you know, when I run into myself and encounter myself or get feedback about that. You know, my thought is, okay, let me get out of here, rather than let me sit, let me look at myself, and let me learn from the people around me. So examine ourselves, get feedback from other people, face the music, and then rebuild. Face our flaws, apologize. I do like what a friend said one time to me, how can I make this right? He didn't just apologize. It was a missed date, actually, a long time ago. And he said, how can I make this right? That put it back in my court to understand or communicate what it meant to me. Did it mean very little or did it mean a lot? And what could he do about that? I really like that. Learn from that. And then rebuild. Because nothing can't be rebuilt. So, stories. That's all.
Awesome. So, what we're going to do now is give people's takeaway and insights. If you got anything good out of this, Bess, I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, okay. So, Becky, you're first here, and then is Jim. And we'd love to hear your takeaway, your greatest takeaway tonight. We probably have room for a few of them.
Yeah. Well, achievement is ongoing, and knowing your life's, I think this is one of the biggest takeaways, knowing your life's purpose, growing to reach your potential, and sowing seeds that benefit others.
Purpose, potential, seeds.
And I thought the dream part was really important. If you don't have a dream, probably aren't going anywhere until you get one and get a vision and able to spell it out. I thought this was really good. The manage your thinking. The most powerful word is I am blank. And fill in the blank. Because your thinking can really louse you up or motivate you.
Mm-hmm. How we see ourselves. We're almost like we have an inner child. I'm an inner child therapist. And what we're telling ourselves, just as though you would tell a child, you know, if you had a little grandchild, and they come and sit in your lap, and you go, you are so dumb. You are so ugly. You can't do anything. You know, wouldn't that crush them?
Yes.
Doesn't that just hurt to hear? And don't we tell ourselves that, oh, that was dumb? Or I don't measure up to somebody else. It's the same thing. So thank you for those takeaways. Is there anything that you can relate to your life, like an example about these things? Some concrete example that you might be able to share?
Well, I don't know. I'm not thinking about that right now.
Yeah, if you do, I invite you to. Or in the future, if you can think of, wow, this is what it looks like in my life. Because we're learning from you, too. And so specific examples help us to take that abstract into the concrete, and we go, oh, okay, now I understand what she's saying. So just an invitation, no pressure.
Okay.
And now we'll let you off the hot seat. That's Jim.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Do you need to unmute yourself, Jim?
If I can see it there. Yeah, always good stuff Mr. John Maxwell has to say for us. I like the A.L. Williams, just do it. Of all things, this morning I had written down, Bailey, what the hell? Get off your ass and do it. So that's good, and I had done that A.L. Williams many moons ago, so that brought back a couple memories there, Jeff. So thanks for the memories, always. And the John Goddard, I didn't realize he had done all that, so that was cool to map that out and such. You talked about a little bit about the the parent tearing you down a little. I wonder how many teachers have done that. So I just thought of Pink Floyd, leave those kids alone. Because sometimes you can grow into something, much more than what the teacher tells you you can't do, and that's part of that dreaming and everything else, of all the Edison and all those other folks, they were told they couldn't do it. So I guess that gives you the that failure part. You don't really fail. I don't. The I am is kind of the Wayne Dyer part of things there. Of I've always heard I am, then I am, but I heard it in a great way. They forgot a comma, and it is I am, comma, that I am, not. So you gotta. I've always used that for the I am part, but I feel sorry for the victims who just say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm a victim. I was taught not to be a victim, severely, so you don't do it. And those were all great takeaways. Always enjoy it. I could yak on a little bit more, but that was my main takeaway for the night. So thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Is it Nike who adopted that saying, just do it? I think that became their slogan for Nike. And, I had a teacher yell at me once, but I knew enough at that point to know that teacher was probably yelling at themselves even more, and that if something in me bugged him, that was in him as well, and he hated it, and he would put that down and yell at it. So I thought, wow, if he's yelling at me like that, he must yell at himself even more. He has to live with it himself. But yeah, it takes a little maturity to be able to understand that that's never about you, never about us. It's about them and their own unhealed parts. So thanks. Anybody have a question? Who has a question?
No, doing pretty good all in all on that part of things.
Who has an insight or a tip?
I did take the 10 cores and kind of write them down and then just kind of judge, where I'm at on that. And that was kind of fun to figure out the things I am good at, and then, market daily and present daily. Those were weak, so out of 100 points or whatever, if you do 10 times 10, I was about 57. So I got some improvement to do. And that was just, one where I just kind of wrote it down and just said, oh, okay, this is where I'm at. So it's all about tracking, right, guys?
Good job, Jim. Thank you. Yeah, room for improvement always. Well, I think we'll ever arrive, but we can get better and better. That's cool. And so the market daily and present daily are the two most income-producing activities, right? Plus the events, getting people to events.
Prospecting, yeah.
But that comes from, you can't get people to events without marketing and presenting. So awesome. Maybe not exactly on this topic, but who has a success, large or small, that we can celebrate with you?
Just lots going on, that's for sure. Got my ticket for the October event. I guess that's a success. So.
All right, for your company?
Yep.
Awesome.
Planning ahead.
Yeah, that's 4 months. Congratulations. And I'd like to acknowledge you both for being in this class and being so regular as to come to every class or nearly every class, and Becky for having a plan to know how to get on every time. Yeah, because I know you haven't been receiving, your emails haven't been reaching you, and other things haven't been reaching you, and the texts sometimes don't, so that you have a plan. You worked around those obstacles, and you found a way to always know how to get on anyway.
Well, I have a question, because now I'm not able to get on to lunchtime leadership for this week. I haven't been able to get on.
Just go to Jeff's
So I wonder if you could send me the link again. What I was doing before just isn't working.
Sure. What I'll do is I'll add you to the text list every day. Do you think you would get the text? What I do is I text reminder people half an hour before the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if your phone is near you, it will ring, and then you can click on that link, or just go onto Facebook onto Jeff's page. That's where I've been sending people.
I don't know how to get onto Jeff's page.
Okay, write down Jeffrey David Gamble.
Okay.
And you just type that in the Facebook search bar. Once you get into Facebook, just type that into the search bar. You'll see all sorts of stuff on there. You'll see cats. You'll see all sorts of Facebook Lives and videos, and very interesting things on his page. So if you can write that down.
I've gotten on his other show a few times, and it's really interesting. It's kind of very much like the 10 core, but it's different. It's good.
It's all success. So wherever you've written down the number for this, you could write beside it. You can write, Jeffrey David Gamble on Facebook.
Okay.
And of course that would be 10 a.m. your time.
Right. Uh-huh.
On weekdays. You know that already.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I need to make a note. Add you to the text list. So every day, about a half an hour before, you'll get it.
Once I have it, I'll be okay. You don't have to keep telling me, but if I can just get it once, even if you just send me that I might not get it. I was going to say if you send me an email, but I might not get that. So.
Okay. So, do you want to be on the daily text reminder or not?
No, just If I get it once, I'll be okay.
All right, when we're done, I'll text to you once. How's that?
Except that Vern has my phone right now. Has the phone. We just have the one phone between us, so the one.
Okay. Tomorrow I'll text you once for the show.
Okay.
All righty. Text once. Okay. We want you on there. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I really want to be on too.
You're an incredible lady, inspiring student, and we love having you.
Thank
okay,
you.
Everybody. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you all. Thank you, Jim, too. You always give good information.
Well, you too, Becky. It's a fun book club, no doubt.
Vicki, I think you were the first student in the MLM University, and I think you were the first student in the Quick Start Basics program.
Really?
I think so.
I wish I was the first person to succeed, but I'm not. I hope
one.
will.
Front
Do you
row.
know what? Bob Proctor is going over the 13, something of Think and Grow Rich.
Oh.
He has something that he's advertising on at least he sent something to me.
Yeah, I think that's the Matrix up there in Canada, and then it goes down and does a couple shows on the Paradigm, but that guy's been studying Think and Grow Rich for almost 60 years, I believe. It's 57 or 58.
Years.
So
yeah, 58. You're right.
He loves it. He said this is #1 book.
I took one of his courses there, and then he gave us the Think and Grow Rich, but he gave us a copy of his book and then everything he had highlighted for the 57 years. So it's interesting how they just do it. Each sentence is just more of a 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the end of the book, you're at statement 586. There's just so much information. Great book. But, yeah, Bob's a firm believer in that Think and Grow Rich. I've enjoyed doing the lunch hour. And I think I've been catching more of the replays. It comes at a time when I'm working Subaru. So thanks for the replays also on that.
Sure. I thought Bob Proctor got that idea to Think and Grow Rich from us. He's been
actually
around.
stole the idea from the science of being rich, and that was Walter Whitman Walter somebody.
Cronkite.
But all that stuff relates way back, over 100 years ago, and he had brought up a lot of those ideas and stuff. Where I think even Napoleon took those ideas. So I wish we were the ones who originated it, but
it's actually something beyond us, really.
But we can learn them, so that's a advantage right there, I think.
Yeah, it's really great to get the benefit.
Thank you all for your thoughts, for being here, and let's see if we can take one thing away from this to put in action in our lives this week. Next week we will do the remaining chapters 7 through 12 of Success.
Awesome. Let's do it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.